Hello, everyone, and welcome to the new season of the Purposeful Life Show with your host, Adrian Starks. I'm excited to share some new updates of the show with you, starting with a new look, sound, and energy, as well as a variety of guests coming aboard with intriguing topics of conversation. I hope you enjoy the new level of energy that will be brought to the show. Thank you for all of your support since the very beginning in 2019. Wow, it's been 3 years already? Because of you, the Purposeful Life Show is now in the top 5% of all podcasts globally, and we aim to get it into the top 1%. Continue listening to the show and share it with others. You can also now listen to the show on my Facebook page at Adrian Starks, where you can comment in real time and communicate with me about your aha moments. Thank you again for all of your support, and let's make this one hell of a year and be purposeful about doing that. Wishing you all much love and success. What I find about history is that when it's repeated over and over again, there's some concepts that get missed because we're just going for the quick bait called the answer. That answer is slow and steady wins the race. Well, is that really true? Does slow and steady really win a race?
Welcome to the Purposeful Life Show on the Connect Now podcast with your host, Adrian Starks. If you're looking for the ideas that could be your breakthrough for change in your business, career, or personal life, then this podcast is for you. Join Adrian as he speaks on topics of personal and professional development for the person behind the business, and interviews a variety of entrepreneurs, business owners, and thought leaders to reveal their ideas and solutions to success and its challenges. Subscribe to the show and leave us a review. It's time to connect, learn, and grow.
Welcome back to the Purposeful Life Show on the Connect Now podcast with your host, Adrian Starks. Before we get started today, make sure you go ahead and download this podcast into your favorite podcast platform, subscribe to the show, share the episodes, and leave us a review. We would love to know how we are doing. Speaking of how we are doing, I would like to share with you something very special. We have just celebrated the 100th podcast episode. Yes. That episode was with a great friend named Tammy Cho, and we talked about getting back to the center of things, making that shift to being a heart-centered high achiever and leader. So go check that podcast episode out. That is episode 100. Today, I want to talk about the power of being persistent in whatever you are doing and staying the course. Because to get to 100 episodes, it took a lot of changes. There were a lot of challenges. I actually would encourage you to go back to listen to the very first episode to see how much I have changed between that episode and now. Things are different. My experiences have grown. My optimism has grown. My business has grown. My beard has grown, as well as my voice has gotten a little bit deeper. What I'm getting at here is that change happens over time as we grow forward. We always want to experience different things on a much higher level, but in order to do that, you have to grow into the person that will be able to experience that. What I'm doing currently now and how I put my podcast together, how I interview people, how I get guests, how I become a guest on shows is so much more different than what it was before. It took a lot of looking at myself from a certain perspective and not playing the comparison game. Because a lot of you right now are out here trying to compete and compare with other people. And what's happening to you is you're losing sight of what you need to improve on. Not for 1 second did I look to my left or right and say, oh, wow, I would love to be where they are. I wonder what they're doing. Lucky for them. I didn't do that. I said, you know what? I can be there. I can be that communicator, that podcaster, that person who talks about being purposeful in life and bringing that to my platform. I can grow that platform to get people to want to be on it, to talk about their lives, their businesses, and how they're making conscious change out here on the planet. That takes a lot of persistence and a lot of staying the course. Today, I'm going to share with you an Aesop Fable because I've been getting a lot of good feedback, and people are saying that they love to hear these fables because they haven't heard them for a long time. And the way that I put them into story format brings it more to life. So today, I'm going to bring to life to you this famous Aesop Fable called The Tortoise and the Hare. A lot of people in business still use this fable. And what will happen here is that when we hear things enough, over time, it gets a bit watered down. And people forget about the simplicity of it and also the true meaning behind it. That phrase, slow and steady wins the race. That's all people will say. They don't say anything about the race itself or what happened with the tortoise and the hare, because this is why Aesop was so descriptive. This is why he was so good at bringing images to us so that we could see it in real time. Today, I'm going to bring that image to you in real time. And at the end of this story, we're going to go on a short break. And when I come back, I'm going to talk about the lesson behind the story and what people are truly missing and what has allowed me to get my podcast to the 100th episode, and we'll get my podcast to the 1000th episode, and so on. You are now listening to an Aesop Fable, The Hare and the Tortoise. A hare once ridiculed the short feet and slow pace of the tortoise. But the tortoise laughed and replied, "Though you may be as swift as the wind, I'll beat you in a race." "All right," said the hare, "you'll soon live to regret those words." So they agreed that the fox would choose a course and fix the goal. On the day appointed for that race, the tortoise started crawling at his usual steady pace, without stopping a solitary moment. Of course, the hare soon left the tortoise far behind. Once he reached the midway mark, he began to nibble some juicy grass and amuse himself in different ways. Since the day was warm, he thought he would take a little nap in a shady spot. Even if the tortoise might pass him while he slept, he was confident that he could easily overtake him again before he reached the goal. Meanwhile, the unwavering tortoise plodded on straight toward the goal. When the hare finally awoke, he was surprised to find that the tortoise was nowhere to be seen and headed for the finish line as fast as he could. However, he dashed across the line, only to see that the tortoise had crossed it before him and was comfortably resting and waiting for his arrival. Slow and steady wins the race. The end. We are going to go on a short break and we'll be right back to explain the story of the hare and the tortoise. What if it were possible to get local fresh groceries delivered right to your front door? Just think how much time and stress it would save you. Well, Instacart gives you unlimited grocery delivery for one low monthly fee. Forget that one ingredient for the family dinner that could offset everything? Instacart can deliver it to your front door in as little as 1 hour. You can shop multiple stores, see deals in your area to help you save money, and every item is hand-selected by shoppers based on your preferences. No more rock-hard avocados, and they will keep your eggs safe too. To start your 14-day free trial, follow the link in the show notes to let Instacart know that we sent you and to help support the show. Instacart. Never step foot in a grocery store again. Welcome back, and I hope you've had some time to really digest this story, The Hare and the Tortoise. What an amazing story this is, and it's been used over for centuries. What I find about history is that when it's repeated over and over again, there's some concepts that get missed because we're just going for the quick bait called the answer. That answer is slow and steady wins the race. Well, is that really true? Does slow and steady really win a race? When you think about races when it comes to sports, when you're a sprinter, the faster person will win. when you're into professional car racing and make sure it's professional and you're doing it in a professional setting, that the faster car does win. However, there's something else that's going on. The person behind the wheel and also the person who's running the sprint. What I find in the story of the hare and the tortoise is that there were a couple things going on. On one end, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and say the word turtle here, okay? I just feel a bit strange just saying tortoise the whole entire time. So on the turtle's end here, they knew that they were not faster than the rabbit. However, this turtle knew that it had something that the rabbit didn't have. That is persistence, patience, the ability to focus. Think about that. The hare, on the other hand, I'm going to say rabbit. The rabbit was just very arrogant. It knew it was faster, so it focused on comparing itself, saying, no matter what you do, I'm going to beat you because I am quicker. Well, I think the turtle had something else to say about that. After I thought about this story for a while and really read it over again and again and visualized it in my head, because that's what we have to do with stories. Don't just read it for one time and then put it down, because there's a hidden message in there that particular writer was meaning for you to get. Here's the thing that I'm going to share with you that's going to change your perspective on this story forever. The one thing that separated these two amazing creatures was one letter, that is L, the losing letter. Complete versus compete. The turtle was focused on completing the race. The hare was focused on competing. That competition perspective distracted the hare to make it think that it didn't have to focus, it didn't have to try hard, it didn't have to be persistent. And that's what got the rabbit in trouble, was the fact that it became negligent of its responsibility to make itself stay committed to the path. What I am getting at here is that what are you doing right now that's allowing you to be distracted like that rabbit? Is it your competitive state? Is it your ego? Is it your inability to know that things just take time and you have to stay the course? What can you do to improve that aspect of yourself so that you can continue to grow forward along your journey? Things take time, everyone. Nothing happens overnight. And even when you think it does, that thing that happened was waiting to happen for quite some time. I want you to go back and listen to this story again about the hare and the tortoise, and to really understand the concepts behind focus, determination, persistence, and what happens when we're trying to compete versus just focusing on completing the task. Yes, the turtle was slower. Yes, the turtle had a lot of stuff on its back and shoulders, as many of us do in this world. We got a lot of problems and things we're trying to deal with along the journey. But did that turtle sit back and say, oh, I'm heavier, I'm slower, so let me not participate in this race? No, it stood up. It developed its champion mentality, as I would say, champion up, and it walked through the challenge. The turtle's challenge was the fact that it was heavier, it was slower, but it knew that all it had to do was stay the journey, stay the course. Right now, you're going to have a lot of challenges coming your way. These challenges are going to be clothed in distractions, failure, setbacks. But what you have to do is pick yourself up and keep growing forward. You can do this. I want you to go out there now, be patient, be persistent, and be flexible. Stay the journey and continue to push forward in all that you do, because it's not slow and steady that wins the race. What wins the race of your life, the race of your challenges, is focus, determination, and persistence. You can do it. Go out there and make that change.
Thank you for listening to the Purposeful Life Show on the Connect Now podcast with your host, Adrian Starks. Subscribe to the show and connect with us on Facebook and Instagram. Learn more about us by visiting our website at cnbn.ca. Go to connectnowpodcast.com to be inspired by more life-changing content. Let's connect, learn, and grow.